Not tell other people or the world what it is that you do not want to become, because you'll probably start following the road to becoming that very same thing. Hey guys, Anthony here, and today I want to do a small video on the topic of negative visions, about the idea of who you want to become, trying to change as a better person, or trying to achieve a goal, or becoming a new kind of individual. And the reason why you should never put your goals, your vision in the negative, as in, I don't want to become like so and so person. I don't want to become like my father. I don't want to become more selfish. I want to be, but turn them into the positive. I want to become more generous. I don't want to be so angry anymore. I don't want to be so lazy anymore. I want to be productive. Because what you do, what happens really when you put it in the negative, is the brain and the world itself, the way that the metaphysical rule function metaphysically, doesn't listen, it doesn't understand your negative. Imagine if I said, think about a pink elephant. What happens? Boom, you get the image of a pink elephant. Okay, now try not to think about a pink elephant, or think about a not pink elephant. What happens? Same thing. Vision. Pink elephant in your head pops up. So what is happens with consciousness is that we start becoming what we observe a lot, what we not only observe but what we speak out. And so when the brain, or metaphysically the world, hears this negative, imagine that the vision that you start creating for yourself is actually the image, not the negative. It doesn't take it for account. So the thing is, there's this book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz that talks about a lot about the subconscious and a lot of mechanism. And there's a mechanism called the success mechanisms, how the subconscious helps people achieve their goals, and create a path, give ideas, intuition, and leads the all of your mind and your body to act in a new way according to that new vision. It creates a path for it. And that's a success mechanism, as if it worked on its own in a certain way. The idea of letting that mechanism work to create that, bring that vision that you have, the desire to become, into reality. But the thing is, many people use it as a failure mechanism, as if, oh, I don't want to be poor anymore. I don't want to be this. The thing is, the subconscious imprints the idea of poverty, uh, anger, of selfishness, laziness, and then it says, "Oh, okay, that's the goal." So now it creates a situation in your life, or it directs your action, because most of us, the way that we live, we're 95% subconscious and conscious in our actions, right? And so most of our action becomes tailored to become that very version of ourselves that we do not want to be. Something that's interesting even works in the spiritual level. Why? Because I used to, I do deliver people from negative entities, right? And I just did one yesterday, right? In fact. But the thing is, I've had to, and I've heard of other deliverance ministries, or people who did deliverance, cast out spirits, who talks about this idea of vows. And even myself, I've had to break vows on people. I think about Jujutsu Kaisen, when they use vows to create different situation advantages for themselves. But the thing is, vows are real. In the real life, they exist, and it's when we say things like, "Oh, I'll never become like my father," or "I'll never become like my mother," create this form of link, this vow, where we actually kind of energetically attach ourselves to that parent, in a sense, where we get stuck in a how do I say, we get stuck not in a loop, but we get attached in a sort of way to that version of that parent that we don't want to become. And what happens often when people say that, they create that negative image of them, because when they say, "I don't want to become like my father," what the image of the father, what pops up, it's what you get attached to, and it's eventually what you'll be led into. And this is why sometimes, even in deliverance, for when people try to better their life, and there are external spiritual forces that are tying them down, breaking vows and making people renounce those vows is important often. And I've seen effects where it's actually been effective in people's life, right? So it's how important this idea of not visualizing yourself in a negative or saying, I don't want to become like that person. Because again, you create a vision for yourself. And the solution is always to create a positive vision for yourself instead. What do you want to become like? Right? Whoever it is that you don't want to replicate, feel your consciousness, just turn away and feel your consciousness. Don't be so energetically attached to it, but slowly and surely feed your consciousness with something else, with a positive mentor or somebody or a character or anybody that you say, I want to have those positive characteristics, and start maybe acting in a certain way, those positive acts that they take, and try implementing them in your own life. And so that's this idea again that uh, do not create negative vision for yourself. Do not create vows. Or if you know that you already have vows like this, you can really take time to ask Holy Spirit and just tell her, oh, Holy Spirit, show me the vows that I've made that I should break. And then when she starts pointing to people or showing you things, you can do this and say, I renounce those vows in my life. And I reject them. I renounce those vows. And this is kind of a spiritual key that can allow you a certain level of freedom when it comes to how we get energetically attached to things that we do not want to happen. And that's often maybe you will see it in your life where you said things like this and you start seeing replicating patterns that your parents, becoming like your parents in some ways. That's one of the keys to get out of these patterns. Anyways, that's all for today again. Do not create negative visions for yourself. You're not helping yourself in any way. Create a positive one. Peace.